Hello, my name is Maria Rosales and I work for the UC Santa Cruz Gear program at North Salinas High School. And today I'll be giving you a presentation that my team and I created where I'll be going over what is Gear Up, the services that we have for our students and families, graduation requirements, as well as university systems and financial aid. So, what is Gear Up? The University of California, Santa Cruz Gaining Early Awareness and Readiness for Undergraduate Programs is an effort aimed to provide high school students with the academic support, mentoring, along with other services. This is done in hopes to prepare our students with the necessary tools to ensure a path of success. So, starting off with these student services, we have academic advising, where basically our college facilitator or academic interns pull your students out of class and they have advising sessions at our office where they go over similar information that we're going to be discussing today. So they cover the classes, their grades, GPA, the graduation requirements, and they go more into depth about the services that they can receive through our program, as well as any interest that they may have in schools, so colleges, universities, or majors. Then they also have educational field trips, so your student is able to participate in the field trips that are planned. And this is a great experience for them to feel what the college life is really like and learn about the different programs at the universities. As well, they have in-class and English tutoring, so if your student has any questions with the course, or for example, they want someone to revise their like a scholarship essay or something like that, they're able to receive help at our office. They also have workshops and events. So these are done for students to participate, have fun, and just get familiar with our program to be comfortable asking for help when they need it. As well, they have college and career club for students and summer programming, meaning that if your student is attending summer school, they're able to receive help at our office. So next up, we have the parent services. So we have academic advising, which is basically what I'm going to be doing throughout this video. I typically have my meetings in person with families, and we basically are going to be discussing similar information. Um, as for the workshops, we have a five-series workshops about once every academic year. So we typically do those workshops in the afternoon at 6 p.m. because we know that sometimes it's hard for parents to attend school events while also, working and having to do a lot of other things. Um, so during these workshops, um, we have guest speakers that come and talk to our parents about how to best support students, how to be able to understand them during this transition, either, middle school to high school, or even their transition as becoming teenagers. So we have these workshops, and it's really fun. Parents gain a lot of information, and we do offer food for parents just so they can eat and be listening to our speakers, and not have to worry about going back home and cooking. So we also have educational field trips. During the educational field trips, parents are able to come along with their student to different colleges and universities that we visit, and it's just a great experience, for the families and students to be able to learn about the different colleges together. So next up, we have our graduation requirements. We have four graduation requirements. The first one is community service. So students need to complete a minimum of 40 community service hours before the end of their senior year. The second one is to maintain a minimum of an 85% of attendance per school year. So your students needs to um, be at school most of the academic year. And if they have below an 85% of attendance, they are going to be sent to Saturday school. The third one is to have a minimum of a 2.0 GPA. And the fourth one is to complete a minimum of 220 credits. So the credits go hand in hand with the GPA, and I'll be explaining that a little further in the next slide. So here's a transcript. So a transcript is an official document where the students' personal information is at the top. So for privacy reasons, we cut that out. Then we have their courses that they've taken. So this section would be the fall semester of ninth grade, and then spring semester of ninth grade, and so on. Then we have the courses here on the side and the credits that they receive. So, for example, with this student, they received an F for mathematics, meaning that they received 0 credits out of 5. So they would have to make that course up during summer school, spring intersession, winter intersession if the classes are offered. Um, and then on the side, we have the credits, so the required credits, how many they have completed. Here, this section would be the work in progress, so what they do through the semesters, and how many credits they still need to reach the 220 credits. Then we have the community service hours down below, and the percentage of attendance. And then we have the graduation GPA and the unweighted GPA. So I'll be explaining what that is. So the graduation GPA takes into account if your student is taking AP classes or honor classes, which are the advanced ones. And the unweighted GPA, it's the raw GPA without taking into account the extra points from the honors or AP classes. So here are the points depending on the classes that your student is taking. So graduation GPA, these would be the points um, for the grade letters if they're taking AP or honor classes. So an A would be 5 points, a B would be four, and so on. And for the unweighted GPA, without taking into account those classes, the advanced classes, an A would be 4 points, a B would be three, and so on. So next on this slide, we're gonna be looking at an example of how to calculate the unweighted GPA. So here we have some classes, some grades. So the grades get converted into their numerical value. Then they get summed up and divided by the number of classes that your student took for that semester. And for those points exactly, it would turn out to be a 2.33 GPA. Moving on, we have the A through G requirements. So what the A through G requirements is, those are the classes that the universities are going to be looking at when your student is applying to the universities. So those classes, they need to pass it with a C or better. So for high school graduation, your student can receive D's and still graduate, but they wouldn't be able to apply to universities because the universities see those D's as F's, so they wouldn't be able to apply, so they need to receive C's or better. So we do encourage all students to receive C's or better, even if they don't have plans currently to attend a university because they might change their mind down the road. So we just encourage them to receive C's or better in all classes. So we have our college systems. We have four different college systems, starting off with community colleges, universities of California, California State Universities, and private universities. So community colleges, they offer different types of degrees. So the associates, which take about 2 to 3 years, they also offer certificates for short programs or short careers such as construction, welding, um, a plumber, and stuff like that. And they do offer a transfer program to a UC or CSU, which means that your student would do their general ed classes. For example, let's say Harnell, because that's the closest college that we have here in Salinas. So let's say your student completes their general ed classes at Harnell. It takes them about 2 years, let's say, and then they transfer to a UC or CSU to continue the other 2 years. And those classes would be for their major specifically. And after completing those other 2 years at a UC or CSU, then they would earn their bachelor's degree. For community colleges, they only require a high school diploma. And then here on the side, we do have um, all of the different community colleges in California. I know it's super small, but there's a lot. So moving on, we have the universities of California. So what those are, They're known as the UCs and they offer bachelor's and master's degrees. They do require a 3.0 GPA and extracurricular activities in high school and research opportunities. So the extracurricular activities are required so your student is competitive and the school can see that your student does more things outside of just their classes. So, for example, that can be like sports or if they do like volunteer work outside of school and stuff like that. And here are the UCs in California. Moving on, we have the California State Universities known as the CSUs. So they offer a bachelor's and master's degrees as well. And they require a 2.5 GPA and they do offer more hands-on training and field experience. So, as for me, what I did after high school, I went to Harnell College. I did my 2 years there. Sometimes it's more beneficial for students to start off at a community college, which is not bad at all. Sometimes there's different reasons as to why it's better to do that. So personally for me, the reason that I went to a community college first, is because of financials. So I thought it was gonna be more expensive going to a UC or a CSU right after high school. And I didn't see it as the best idea just because I also didn't know what I wanted to do. So for me, I thought it was gonna be better, which it was, to do my general education at Harnell. And then once I was doing my classes there, I started taking child development classes and I saw that that's what I wanted to do. So after completing my 2 years there, I got a better idea of what I wanted to do. And then I transferred to CSUMB, which now I have 1 year left to receive my bachelor's degrees since I did complete 2 years in Harnell and I'm going to be doing my 2 years at CSUMB, which I also did want to mention that. So sometimes financial, it's a problem, or sometimes students don't know what they want to do after high school, or even if they don't want to move far away, or if they don't have the transportation, um, then they might benefit more going to a community college. So there's also different types of programs in those colleges, such as there's one called the California Promise Program, where students receive their 2 years for free at a community college. And it's super beneficial, so I also do recommend doing that if your student doesn't know what they want to do right after high school. And it can give them a more clear idea of what they want eventually, and then they could just transfer to a UC or a CSU. Moving on, we have our private universities. So the private universities, they offer bachelor's and master's degrees along with other types of degrees. For the high school requirements, they do require the diploma from high school, and the GPA varies depending on the different type of university, and they are typically more competitive. So the more that your student does outside of school, the better that it's gonna look on their application, and they may require the SATs, ACTs testing, and more besides the extracurriculars. So, next up, we have financial aid. I'm going to be talking about the two most common financial aids. There's more than just grants and scholarships, but these are the most common ones. So, the grants are aid from federal, state, and university sources that are awarded to students based on need and do not need to be repaid. And the scholarships, they are gift aids that don't have to be repaid, and many scholarships are geared towards particular groups of people or merit-based, which I do want to mention that if your student is interested in applying to scholarships, which they absolutely should, they can already start applying to the scholarships. And if they need a revision or some type of help with that, they can receive that service at our office. Um, and then that is it for our presentation. Thank you so much for watching throughout this whole video. And if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to my boss, Alberto Tovar. There's his phone number and email. So thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.